What is up, guys? It is Greg back here with a short video today. And a couple weeks ago I had the opportunity to go to New York. It was my first time spending extended time in New York City. I had been there once for like 24 hours before on a layover that got delayed, and so I got to explore some of the city. But on this trip, Kelsey and I got out to New York, and we got to explore a bunch, see a bunch of stuff. We had a great time, and I captured a lot of it through my photos. And I just wanted to share with you guys some of my favorite photos that I took while we were in New York. And so each of these stories kind of tells a story, kind of tells where we're at. And so some of them will be clumped together, some of them will be a standalone single photo. I do have my iPad here. I edit all my photos right here on my iPad and Lightroom CC. And so I'll be referencing this, but I will show the pictures up on the screen so you guys can see them well. A lot of these will be groups of places and coffee shops that we enjoyed, that we got the opportunity to go to. This first 3 shots is from a coffee shop called Toby's Estate. It's in Brooklyn. We had our first 3 days in Brooklyn, and I would say all my favorite coffee was definitely in Brooklyn. And so these first 3 are shots from inside Toby's Estate. I really liked the mood of the place. It had very like specific lighting. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but not everything was lit universally, and so I tried to play up some of that in these photos. I tried to emphasize some of the dark areas and let the brightness, the highlights really be the highlight or be the main subject of these photos. Next, we were in Manhattan, and we were walking through Central Park, and it was super cold, so we didn't spend a lot of time in Central Park, so I didn't get very many shots like actually in the park. But as we were leaving the park, I captured this photo here. And what I like about this photo is everybody is facing the wrong way, except everybody's facing away except for one person. And this just captures how cold and how windy it was. There was wind blowing this dirt up across the sidewalk, across the crosswalk there, right into the people's face. And so while they were waiting for the stoplight, they had their backs turned. And then right down from there, there's this little mall. I don't really remember what it was called, but they had this beautiful glass in front of it, and I captured this shot right here. I just love how this shot here just highlights this moment of the wind coming in, the storm outside, all of the yellow taxi cabs that are so iconic in New York, but then you still see kind of the inside, the foreground of the people shopping in this small center, and then right in the middle of the frame is that big statue in the middle of the round there. And so I really like this shot. This is probably one of my top 3 shots that I took while I was in New York. And then this next shot, we were in these next couple shots, I think, we were grabbing bagels just south of Times Square. So this was after we were at Central Park. We walked south to Times Square, and we decided to grab a bagel. And while we were in there, it started to snow. So we went from this not beautiful day, but this kind of dreary day to this blizzard all of a sudden. So we came out, and I captured this photo here. I love the contrast here of the light kind of reflecting from the buildings on this food truck, and just how dark everything else is around it. And then I was taking photos, so I kept losing Kelsey. She kept walking far ahead of me, and so this shot here is probably another one of my top 3 photos that I took here. This shot, I finally caught up to her, and I decided to take a picture of her from behind. She had all the snow on the back of her, and I really like how the contrast of this stoplight that kind of shone down right on her highlighted the white, the snow on her, and then the darkness of the city kind of in the background. Once we got out of the snow, we dropped down into the subway, and I still feel weird about taking pictures of random people, but there was this guy just jamming to these headphones as he walked down through the subway station, and I couldn't help it but capture this photo here. After staying in Brooklyn for a couple nights, we went over to Jersey City. I was going to a conference in Jersey City, and our hotel was right on this pier that stuck out into the Hudson. We got to see downtown Manhattan from our hotel. It was this most beautiful sight. And so as we got in the first night, the sun was setting, and I decided to go out and take some photos. And so got out my camera, went out onto the end of the pier that our hotel was on, and I captured these pictures as the sun was starting to go down. I love this vertical shot here, just the Empire State Building right there tucked in the middle of the shot. I also captured this landscape version of it. I honestly don't take a ton of landscape photos, but every once in a while I come across a scene where I feel like it could really help tell the story of what was happening. This next shot looks directly out from the end of the pier. We were right across the water from the One World Trade Center, and so I captured this shot here. I really like the detail of this shot. And then as I was kind of packing up my bag, I noticed that there was this boat coming across the water and a helicopter flying kind of over it. So I captured this shot here. And if you look above the city line in the clouds and kind of zoom in, it's probably very hard to see on YouTube with the compression and everything, but on the original photo, I'm probably going to do a print of this one. You can see this helicopter flying in the sky, and I just love that, like the busyness of the city with the boat, the helicopter, but the sun setting in the back. It's this really great contrast to this photo. And then after the sunset, I decided to go back out. It was cold, so I didn't stay out this whole time, but I went back out and captured kind of the same photos once the sun was down and it was already dark out. Did some long exposure. These were some 30-second exposures, so you notice the water is nice and calm. And so this is my favorite of the long exposures at night I did of the Manhattan skyline. And then this last set of photos is this coffee shop we found on the Jersey City side, and it's called Lackawanna or something like that. I probably am not pronouncing it right, but I loved the vibe of this place. It was all concrete and then had green plants, and so I had a really good time, and so I made these few photos here. And so those were all the photos that I made when I was in New York. Oh, not all of the photos I made, but those were some of my favorite photos that I took. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen a couple of them, but a couple made it on this video before they've been posted on the gram, but they will be posted there at some point. All of these photos were taken on my Sony a7 III, along with the 85mm f1.8 and then the 24mm f1.4 GM, and I actually just sold that lens. So if you have some questions about why I sold it, or you want me to make a video about it, definitely hit me up and let me know. But yeah, those two lenses, this camera was kind of my run and gun setup in New York. So if you've seen the travel vlog, you've probably seen kind of these locations already before. But anyways, those are my favorite photos I took. If you like this like trip recap with a highlighting on the photos that I took, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe and give this video a like, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take it easy. Peace.